if you guys have watched the show long enough, you know what my single biggest government pet peeve is. It's when publicly paid spokespeople, who we pay, again, with taxpayer money, to answer media requests and keep the public informed. It's when they pick and choose what media outlets they're going to respond to and who they're going to be transparent with. It's when they, instead of acting as taxpayer-funded spokespeople to keep the public informed, they do everything they can to protect the politicians, to protect the government entities who they're working for. And it's totally backward thinking. I do believe there should be a law against it. I've advocated for that for some time. But Jason Rantz, he does a lot of stories on the Seattle Public School District and on schools in general. And I'm not sure what the gist of his public disclosure request was, but I seem to think it had something to do with like emails mentioning him or something. So he puts out this email. He says, Seattle Public Schools communication staff doesn't like my questions highlighting staff's blatant political agendas, like promoting BDS to students, pretending men can get pregnant, etc. I should note they're now ignoring all my questions. That's a mistake. And so he puts this email in here, and it's from a Seattle Public Schools spokesperson to some other individuals within the Seattle Public Schools system. And it says, question to you, Mary. Does the comms team have guidance on how SPFS staff should respond to a conservative talk show that may be trying to further a political agenda in the questions it is asking? Think about that for a second. This person's paid with your money to respond to media requests. That is the job taxpayers pay them to do. And here this person is in an internal email questioning whether they even have to respond to a, quote, conservative talk show that may be trying to further a political agenda. It doesn't matter what political agenda Jason has. It doesn't matter that he's a conservative talk show. He's a bona fide member of the media. Commentary and people who do editorials, they're still members of the media. We are still members of the media. This is the job we do for a living, to inform the public. It is not and cannot be the course of action for publicly paid spokespeople to be able to simply ignore requests, blatantly so. Jason says they're not responding to him anymore. That's their job, whether they like it or not. If they don't like their job, they should get a new job. We see this, we have seen some of the worst examples of this in the King County Executive's office. One of the worst offenders resigned, so I guess that's a good thing. But it's almost like they feel as if they work for the entity. Like that this person thinks they work for the head of Seattle Public Schools. Or like a comms person for a politician believes they work for, and their mission is, their responsibility is to protect that person from scrutiny. That's not your job. That's not what taxpayers... Imagine paying someone to keep secrets from you. Imagine paying someone to keep information from you. That's what we're doing. I really believe, and I wish I could get a lawmaker to run this bill for me. There's two things I think would help with this situation, because this is pretty widespread throughout the government ecosystem. One, there should be a law and some sort of oversight commission that determines that people can be fired if they are caught doing something like this, as government paid spokespeople actively hiding information from the public. Number two, I think there should be there's a couple ways to go about this, but I think the Washington Coalition for Open Government should have to put forth a nomination list of people who the government can hire to put in these publicly paid spokespeople positions. And agencies can choose someone from that list. And I also think that they should be rotated every 2 years. So if you are a spokesperson for the governor, every 2 years, you have to rotate and be a spokesperson for a different agency that you have no sort of loyalty to. Because when you build up these spokespeople who are in these taxpayer-funded positions for 10 years at a time, they have loyalty to the person that they're working for, and they shouldn't. They should have loyalties to the public and to make sure the public gets the information it needs. So I think it should be a rotating job. Like, all the way through the system, one day you might be a spokesperson for the governor, 2 years later you might be a spokesperson over at the Washington State Department of Transportation. I know that's difficult, I know that sounds crazy, but I honestly think it would dramatically improve the accountability and transparency that the government has for the people it serves.